Hi, so today we have with us Divya Dugar, who's written Chaos in a Coupe, traveling across India with three dogs. Hi, Divya.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Divya, this is a lovely, lovely book. And see, because you have three dogs and I have three dogs, I felt a real affinity, to you actually as well. So, I mean, it's such a lovely story, though I don't have the guts to travel on trains with my dogs. I have to really, say that. So, hats off to you for doing it and doing it so I mean, clearly from the book, by the end of the book, you know that you're like a practiced traveler. You know,
Yeah, we over 75 train journeys across India on first class of Indian Railways. There was
wow.
only once we were not on a first class, we were in a second AC because our train was cancelled. But other than that, it was always a first class.
Yeah. So, but from the book, it's clear that you have to do a lot of training to work yourself up into. I mean, just by just doing it, only you got trained into traveling, like that. So, talk about. I mean, for the reader, for the listener who doesn't know how you slowly got into it. Talk about how you started traveling with dogs.
So all my three dogs comes with a lot of baggage. So they are not those trained dogs. So like, and I rescued them as two of them as adult dogs. So they had a lot of trauma and baggage living few years on the street.
Mm,
So so it's not that none of us are perfect. So we
mm,
were all this crew with coming with our own baggage, and I lost one of my dog, which was Marco Polo's mother, to sudden cardiac arrest. And I guess that's just showed me how limited time we have with our pets. We all
mm,
this is not a forever love story. We all come with
mm,
this limited time. And I was really sad I love traveling and I was just sad to leave them all the time. So I had to find a way of traveling with them. I don't own a car. Don't think so. I can be a great driver because I'm so distracted all the time. So I decided I
mm.
have to find a way to move with them. And then Indian Railways came in the picture. So when I started, there was not much information on the internet, so I had to really figure it out. And once that first train journey from Nizamuddin to Madgaon, that
Mm.
gave me so much confidence that, oh, this could be done. And the dogs were really well behaved, more than I thought they would be. And they took to it, and I was very worried about Tiger because she's very territorial. That if that coupe could be too much for 30 hours, the first journey was 30 hours. But she was really good. She fell in love with the pantry of Indian Railways. I think she's the only one who loves the pantry of Indian Railways. And I guess that was it. And after that, I remember there were so many times I was reaching my particular train in the New Delhi railway station or Old Delhi. The dogs just wanted to jump onto any train. Like they were obsessed with traveling with trains and so good. And we all made a little space because that coupe is so small. And
Yeah.
by end of it, I had a son. There's two of us and three dogs.
So, you know what? I mean, you talk about how people generally, get excited when they see you with the dogs, the family with the dogs, and they get, that. I mean, that's one thing about Indians. We never shut up. We're constantly like commenting and saying things to people's face, which is now I realize unusual. When you go outside, you see that people are very like buttoned down. They don't say anything. So how did you handle that? In the book, it seems like you really handled it very well. So,
I'm gonna say like I am more reactive of the couple,
mm,
like, but
mm.
I guess Olivia doesn't understand Hindi, so it helped him. He was always smiling, so he never got worked up. So I was the most reactive. Most of the time, I try to make it in a very positive narrative, like telling people that they are street dogs and they're like family. But there were few times I did have big fights with people because they kept saying the jungly dog hai, sadak se pakad ke le aayi. And and another narrative was, oh, when we did not have kids, like, oh, she doesn't have kids, that's why she has this dog. So that's this is a very common thing when people tell you that, oh, you don't have kids, that's why you have dogs, and like a kind of a replacement, and moment you have kids, the dogs will be out. So there was a lot of these comments which used to work me up a lot. And I think as Olivia used to tell me, I have to choose my battles, because if I'm fighting day and night with everyone, it wouldn't be really nice travels. But I
Yeah.
guess few places where I thought people were more open, like mountains, we were very welcomed. Like I guess people are so used to live together with animals. Goa
Yes.
was another one. I think almost everyone had an indie,
Mm.
but most of them kept them outside. Was a different, but at least they loved dogs. There was a, like a different. So I think Punjab was the hardest because they love breeds.
Oh, oh. But this is a thing I've seen. Like people say they're dog lovers. Even in Gurgaon, Delhi, they'll say, "Oh, we love dogs," but actually they love like huskies or they love, some breed dog. I think that's great. I'm very happy for them. But there is the indie is such a great. I mean, I don't have to tell you like how
I,
fantastic they
I
are. So
Yeah, I'm a champion of indies. Like, I always say that, that we love all now, all like, it's always a thing. Like, yoga, when outsider take the yoga, everyone loves yoga now. I live in Bangkok. People are crazy about it. Like, oh, Indian, you must be knowing everything in yoga. Now it millets. So, it's always a thing that someone from outside have to come and tell us that what we have is great. And we never
mm,
realize what is just right in front of our eyes. And same with Indian dogs, which are just right in the corner. People just, I don't know, shoo them away. They think they are like jungly or mixed or not beautiful. But I just feel they're one of the most intelligent breeds, highly adaptive. I could go anywhere
yeah,
and they could adjust, low maintenance. I don't have to take them to all these spas and all. They eat whatever is given to them and really low vet bills. I've never had to go and spend crazy, and they live long and they age very well.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, like your dog, Tigress.
Tigress, yeah.
Yeah, she was 16 years old when she
Yeah,
passed
when
away.
she passed away, she was almost going to be turned 17 in few months. So,
Wow.
and it's, of course, the last 24 hours was a crash. And before that, she was eating, and it was not that she was suffering. It's one of the most heartbreaking things to see your dog suffer if you
Yes,
love.
yes,
And I mean to say, this was a very conflicted thing because I had to put her down. I knew she was dying. She had a ruptured tumor, and I had to make that call. And it wasn't taken very kindly on social media or Instagram because people think that because I don't take care of an old dog. But we all need to know when it's a time to go. And
yes, yes. Yeah. But it's such a, I mean, you've written very like maturely about it, but it's such a scary thing. I mean, my dog is 14 years, my oldest dog is 14 years old. And eh, actually, ever since she turned 6 or 7, I've been like worried about this. Okay, so it's like a constant worry, and I know that a lot of people who have dogs in their families have the same worry. That they keep thinking, oh shit, something's going to happen. Oh, every time the dog has indigestion, you get into a state. So I
yeah, yeah,
don't know how you handled that.
yeah. So
Having an
like,
old dog.
I think this book is a result. I knew that limited time we have, and I wanted to make the adventure. I rescued Tigress when she was. I met her first when she was 24. I think 25. I rescued her. So I lived practically my whole of adult life with her, and she passed
Hmm.
away when I was 39. And so I don't remember anything major in my life without her. I got
Hmm.
married, all my holidays, like my first house in Hoskas in New Delhi, everything, she was part of it. But I just knew that I have to give her that dignity. She was a very independent, highly intelligent dog, and cannot let her rot and just be in a box waiting to die. So I had to make
Yeah.
that choice because I loved her so much. So
Hmm.
I had to let her go for the love of Tigress. And there's never going to be, I'm sure, I'm going to rescue dogs. I'm just waiting for I think we always feel there will be a right dog which will walk into our life. But Tigress was special. And we all have to realize that what we can give our dogs is a quality of life.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And what also struck me is, in your book, you've mentioned how the dogs that you rescue off the street, they have very different personalities because they've seen trauma. And this was a big revelation. It's not a revelation, but because it made me think of my own dogs. My oldest dog was rescued off the street, but the other two dogs are actually her babies. Okay, so the way the two react, the other dogs, the small dogs, and the mother dog react to a particular stimulus is completely different. And she's very talkative and she'll scream and jump around. These guys will just be sitting very calmly wondering what is going on to the same thing. So, there's a big difference when a dog, like you said, lives on the street. There's so much trauma there. So, you want to talk
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, I feel that there's like you when you rescue a dog from a difficult situation or who has lived few years in the streets in India, they are one of the most grateful creatures. They'll never like every single meal they will relish. Every single like every night when I rescued Tigress, that was no, sorry, Pari. The first 3 nights that she slept, like that she was so grateful to have that security and safety, and this she still has, unlike Marco Polo, who was the pup of one of my dog, Pondi, who
Hmm.
demands certain treatment, like, oh, I want my biscuits to be cut in half, or I want my food to be given by hands, because he's never seen that hardship. And
Yes.
unlike the other two who will appreciate every single bowl of food, every single walk, a bed at night. Marco Polo would never, is beyond his dignity not to sleep in a bed where we sleep. You cannot tell him to use a dog bed. Like my kids can sleep, we can sleep, but he will not sleep on a dog bed because he doesn't consider himself. Sometimes I think he's a dog. He does not. So yeah, of course, I feel there is a huge difference. And like Pari is highly unpredictable as well because of all my dogs, she had the most trauma. She was most hurt of the lot, and her rescue was the hardest rescue we had. But then she's most funny and goofy dog. Also, there's a other side of it. So when you give them that love and security, they all come out, they shine. And that's what happened with her. But of course, they're more grateful than what the dogs which are born as a pup or which stay at home are.
Yeah. And they, and the thing is that I suppose we also forget that I'm just talking from my own experience that that like when I don't know how to put this. When you see huskies and you see all these labs and all these pedigree dogs, and it's clear that my younger dogs think that they are also pedigree dogs, whereas my older dog doesn't think like that. So there's a psychological, very funny thing happening in their heads as well.
I think it's a little bit like, they was telling me that, it's a little slumdog millionaire kind of a story, whose dog who has lived on the street and they got struck lucky and they found a family, and they know what that they are luckier than probably other dogs, or like, a thing. And I don't know, I mean to say, like with the pedigree dogs, first of all, I feel really sad that, some of those dogs, because I used to see quite a lot of them in Lodi Garden walking,
Yeah.
and it's just not the appropriate weather, and it just needs so much care and investment, and they do age very differently. Indie at 10-year-old and another breed at 10-year-old, like a Labrador, or I don't know, Husky, would have a completely different physical I don't know, attributes,
Yeah.
like capacity. Like
Yeah.
Tiger started to travel quite late when she was 8, so she did all those journeys after she was 8, and she could run, she could walk. It was just like I said, last 24 hours. Otherwise, she was going for a walk.
But you mean to say even when she was like 14, 15, she was still traveling?
Yeah, she took her flight. The flight I took from Paris to Bangkok. She was 15 years old.
Wow.
I mean,
So,
it was a bit scary because she got a bit sick on the car. She came from Normandy to Paris airport and she started to vomit. And my husband called and said that, she's getting dehydrated. You're going to take a chance and bring a 15-year-old dog on a like 13 hours flight from Paris to Bangkok. But, at that stage, I just couldn't leave her. She just needed me. She was my dog. She's no one else's dog. And I said, and he said, oh, it's your decision, it's your dog. He was at the airport and we were very worried, but she drank some water. And I said, I'm going to take that gamble. I'm not going to leave her to your parents because that will be abandonment. She feel completely abandoned at that age. So we took that flight. I took that decision. I think it was the hardest night. It was all on me. But she woke up. She was nicely at Bangkok airport, yawning. Yeah, she was all right. Like I said, that they are very, very resilient, more than we think they are, and that's why my book is kind of a love letter to indies.
mm, yes, I saw that. Yeah. But tell me why is it, and you also noted in your book, and I've seen it so many times, and it's very depressing. Well, some of us Indians, we love animals, we do go out of our way. And then there are a lot of us who are just the opposite, man. You know, they just are so full of hate. And for animals, I can't understand it. And you've also spoken about it, and you've met many characters like that. What do you do with such people? How do you change them?
I think we live in a very hypocritical society. I just recently did a post where I went to one of my family temple is Bhairu Baba, and who sits on a black dog. Black dog.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and people are crazy. They're queuing up. They're offering from whiskey to oil to sweets to everything as to get blessing. But there was same like 10 dogs so malnourished outside, like no one was even watching them. So it's just that as long as we get something done, like if a panditji tell you go feed this dog and or this cow or whatever, people will just go out and do everything because they say they're going to gain something out of it.
Mm,
Otherwise, we're just very blind. It's just not animals. I think we're just very blind to everything which is in our immediate surrounding, the trees, and even the we throw the garbage outside. It doesn't matter as long as it doesn't affect our unit. And it's I think the saddest part is the parents telling their young kids, "Oh, you're allergic to animals." I don't know why, because they just want to create that fear. Oh, this dog will bite you,
yeah,
So already they
I've
have
also seen
kind of phobia, and I think you just don't raise. You have to raise kind kids, and they just think they're invisible. For them, these animals are invisible. They don't care. They are a nuisance to them. And yeah, it's like first of all, I think the resident welfare societies or associations are the biggest problem. They are made of this kind of a moral policing. I
yeah.
lived in a horse cars, and we were constantly on a battle with them all the time. And this lady was not just nasty to us, she was like beating up the vendors or the small kids, whoever she could get hold of it, because she thought that she was this kind of a moral police of that whole neighborhood. And I guess people have to speak out, speak up. But it was a war living in Delhi, in Hoskas, in that street to rest before we rescue Pari, and we had another dog called Alex. I really thought that I was in a war with the whole neighborhood.
My God. Yeah, I know you're right about it. And I mean, I kind of stop myself from getting too involved in the local dogs except to talk to them and give them treats because I'm scared that, I will go mad with concern. Just like, and it's very easy to do that, you know.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
think the mental trauma is too much. Like I was till Pari was on a street. I think I couldn't sleep at night, and I had a lot of issues. Like because like I said, I was much more reactive, so I could and it was just not nice. It's like not one person, it's like 20 people against you. And it was to be an animal lover in India, you need to be really really strong mentally, or you need to have that courage to stand up to a lot of people. And it's not
Yes.
just that, like now I think even my family thinks the dogs are great, but initially they all thought it was a very wrong decision to rescue these dogs.
Yeah, yeah, and you also speak about how because I mean I didn't when I was younger I didn't I didn't have to like I didn't live alone or I'm not from Delhi originally, so I haven't encountered this. And when I came to Delhi, I was already married and everything, so I didn't have to encounter hostility as a woman. And now because I'm much older, there's a fear of me also. Because I'm older. But for young women in Delhi, living alone, and you bring that out so well, it's a scary thing. If
Yeah.
people are constantly policing you, constantly talking about your dogs, trying to attack you, how do you get through this, man? I mean, hats off to you. How did you do it?
I mean, I think at that time I wasn't, I was in a real soup because I just had to find a place. If I wanted these dogs with me, the only thing was that I had to find a place to stay. And I think this is when I realized that it's really hard. Like people are going to judge you for every single thing. Like, first of all, like, dogs are secondary. Just because you're a single woman, it's really a no-no situation. They think that, and my parents lived in Delhi as well, but I never lived with them because my dad is very patriarchal, and it's just very hard to coexist. And forget about dogs. Other day he was telling my mother I should have been feeding cows. I would have generated some great karma by now. So and What what is a very thing about, I don't know, poor cows. I feel so bad for the cows in Delhi also. They're so mistreated near the defense colony circle. I always watch them. They're eating all the plastic and in between the traffic. And I feel that, we are just very selfish as society, because we think that, we're going to go give two rotis or some food to cows, and we're just going to get some good points in our list. And you don't care where they live, where they're coming from. They're middle of a traffic. They might be run down. Nothing
Yeah.
else matters to think. So yeah, it was very challenging. At that point, I had really no choice, and I was lucky. I was broke, and I mean to say that my dogs are the reason I feel sometimes I made it as a journalist, because there was no chance I could give up. There was not no backup here. I couldn't go back
Mhm.
home. I couldn't. I grew up with my grandparents in Kolkata, and I couldn't go back to Calcutta. Like none of them. I come from a very traditional Marwari family, and it was not known in the history of that family that anyone ever had a dog. And they
Okay.
still told me why you need, and there's a term they use something in my community called gandak. Like it's a very,
Ah,
he said, "And kya in like kya गंडकों के पीछे पड़ गई है, क्यों दिमाग खराब है कुछ, and then they used to tell me no one is going to marry you, who's going to marry you, this kind of baggage, then you have to leave them on the street." So yeah, it was you have to fight society in multiple levels. You fight your own family, you fight your own grandparents, you fight the your neighbors, RWA, the police. Like it's just that it just brings out the worst in people. That just that because I had two dogs and I was 25 years old, but we did eventually find a house, which was very odd house. No one had lived in that house for 10 years. So I was sure that it was haunted. That's why it was given to me.
but talking about haunted and also about your family's reaction, I thought that chapter was fantastic when like everybody in the family suddenly changed their views when it
Yeah,
came to like the dogs because you'd said
yeah.
that they can sense
Yeah,
uh,
because I watch too much horror movies. So I said this is a good play trump card.
and it worked. But
Yeah,
also talk about going to that place and it kind of proved it that dogs can sense I don't know, the supernatural, the occult. What? Talk about
I
that
do.
experience.
I do. Like, for me, every time I was so scared to live alone when I was 25. Like, I've never lived alone before in my life. I always had like kind of housemates. Like, I was petrified of that idea. So I guess I had to face all kind of fears just because I wanted to have these dogs, like to live alone, to make a living, to fight the people. It's just multiple levels. But I thought that house where I moved in Hoskas was haunted. But the fact that my dogs did not react for a few months, I was like, oh, I'm safe. I can live here. But same with when I wanted to go to Sardar Sheher and my father's house. It's a very beautiful house, very old. But I knew there's something very dark in that house as well, and so I guess Tigress she loved houses. Like it was her passion to go to old palaces. Like her favorite movement was to be in Orcha. Like she absolutely loved that. The fact that she refused to enter that house, I knew it. That there's something is completely wrong. And also, Olivier is a more practical of the lot. He doesn't believe in these things. He thinks that, we kind like the dog sense your energy before they sense the energy of a space. So they keep saying that if I overreact, they will overreact. But it was really not my overreaction at that point of time. Even he knew by end of it. So yeah, so that chunk completely changed the views. My grandparents became very fond of the dogs by end of it. When Tigress passed away, they were crying on the phone, and they were trying to see video call with her those last minute and wanted to say all the Hindu mantras in her ear so she
Oh,
goes to do all of that. So eventually everyone fell in love with them. They became like part of my thing. But it took all those years, all those situations to happen, and then they said, oh, they're lucky for you. So I said, no, they're not lucky for me. When you kind of make it, people just say that, oh, they're lucky for you or all of that. But there was a lot of struggle to keep them. And I think this reflects story of so many people in India who want to, probably a woman who want to rescue or want to take a place or want to explain to their family. I get so many messages. First of all, this kid story, moment you have a kid's dogs have to go out with in-laws.
nonsense that is, yeah.
Yeah, but that's very, very, you have no idea amount of dogs are abandoned because your in-laws don't like dogs. So you say doctor has told the dog shouldn't be there, like, and they keep telling me what happened if the baby ingests the dog like hair. I said they'll poop it out. What will happen? What will happen was, and my kids, since they are born from day one, they have co-slept with dogs because Marco Polo was never moved from his place. He would sleep
Hmm.
on a bed. Now, anyone else can sleep anywhere else they want, but he wouldn't be moved from that bed.
Hmm.
And, Mario slept with Marco Polo. He was very, very fond of Tigress, extremely, because I think he learned to walk holding her leash. And
Hmm.
so, we don't care if the dogs are rolling over the kids, they're playing. I think I have to be more careful of kids than dogs because the
Yeah.
kids was like they're not better behaved. Sometimes
Yeah.
they pull on their tails or like poke their eyes. So I have to be more careful of kids. Kids are more dangerous than dogs are totally, and that's what I
Yeah.
keep telling everyone.
Yeah. And kids don't know, na? Whereas like dogs already they're sort of mature in what they should not do when
Yeah,
they
yeah. Yeah,
like
but I think this is where, as a job of a parents, becomes very important. You have to tell them that how you have to be kind to animals and how to interact with them. And this is completely missing right now from our society because we just inculcate fear, saying they're
yeah.
dangerous, they're dangerous. And if you throw water on their face, if you pull their tail, of course they're going to react after a point. So the dogs are not aggressive. It's just the way we interact and the kids interact with them.
Yeah. So you think it's getting worse or it's getting better? Because when I was growing up, I don't know, like one wasn't allowed to have pets like dogs, but I thought that generally, or maybe it's just, I'm just looking back with nostalgia. Generally, the relationship with dogs, street dogs and all was not so vicious as it is now, you know?
I don't know. I think no, no. I think because there was not so much social media, so we did not know there might have been stories and things, and now people are more vocal about it. Like I said, that I was so scared of dogs for first 23 years of my life before I met Tigress. I was like probably like everyone else. They were invisible to me. I grew up in a very middle class traditional Marwari family where nothing else mattered other than your immediate family. Like I never traveled in my life. Like I think I saw the first time I saw the sea, I was 18 and mountains at 22. So it was a completely, you only travel for temples or weddings or funerals. Like these were the three things you basically traveled for, and everything else was a waste of money. Why would you
Okay.
do that, so for me, I was for dogs were very invisible, but now I think things are changing. A lot of people are rescuing indies more and more. I see it
Yes.
on Instagram or social media, and people always rescued more dogs in smaller villages like in mountains
Yeah.
and all those things. People had a better relation with animals than people had in two tier cities or Delhi. And I feel Delhi is just this moral policing thing, this is just getting worse. They're getting more and more voice, more and more, I don't know, power with the current situation. They think they can do whatever they want. So it's a really sad situation, In my own street in Hoskas, they killed two dogs. And I know the lady who did it, she was so terribly, terrible, terrible. But that's how they are. There are very few people to protect the dogs, and they're more attacking them.
Yeah. It's quite scary. Huh.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, Delhi was really. I think I was in a complete depression at some point of time. It was too much for me. Like all the time, seeing this, or someone is hit by a car, or someone is rescuing. And if you're sensitive and you take it on you, there is no end of it.
there is no end to it. Yeah, you can fall ill. That's
Yeah,
true.
I was crying. Like every day I was having a half the fight with half the neighborhood. Then I was worried. I always thought that they would do something to my dog in anger, or they'll
Yeah.
attack me at some point of time because I lived alone. So I always had that fear till Olivier came in the picture. Then I still had a bit more confidence. Okay, at least there is like someone with me to deal with the
A
situation.
man, a man.
Yeah, But then also they started to, for them, I think the whole issue became that, oh, we are living together, we are not married. So the tension went away with the dogs for a few years, and some other issues came. And then something else, because I think they're just bored at home, or they're sitting on their balconies. I could see in their balconies at 4 o'clock, all of them are just like looking at each other, what's going on, what's happening. And all those maids and the guards were the information informants, like, they were the ones going and telling everyone. I really thought that Hoskas was a great neighborhood, and it's a very posh neighborhood. It wouldn't be like that, but it is like this. And I think it's, can you imagine living in even another neighborhood? It will be even worse.
Yeah, that's true. And these people, at least, I don't know. So it means that, whatever class of society you are, you're equally narrow-minded. No.
I think the higher the class is, the worse. That is, just
Yeah.
wearing modern clothes or just taking few holidays abroad really doesn't make you very, like, I don't know, like modern. Your thinking has to change. You can wear
True.
sari, you don't have to wear shorts or anything, but you're so narrow-minded, you are always talking bad, and so yeah, that's the curse of the thing, that we all think that just our clothes will make us look modern, and that's it.
In fact, like I've seen so many poor people, like, during this whole thing when there were protests against taking street dogs off some people are saying, oh, it's the elite. But I've seen so many poor people who feed dogs, who look after animals, and not just dogs, they look at, and they don't even make a show of it. So it's really nothing to do with money, I think.
No, no, I think there are a lot of wonderful people who are doing amazing rescue work. I don't think so they're getting much out of it. Forget about respect, they're harassed over it. And
Yes.
there's a lot of rickshawalas, there's chaiwalas, see the
Yeah.
dogs sitting next to them. They're still given two rotis or few biscuits. They
Yes.
share whatever limited resources they have. It's
Yeah.
us, it's the people who live in big houses sometimes could be a problem, because we feel that, oh, if they sleep, there was that lady who was really like absolutely toxic, who lived in opposite my house. So Alex, this dog who she killed eventually, was a beautiful 1 year dog, and yeah, and she was just sleeping next to her house on a street under a car, and that was her issue, that he shouldn't sleep there.
Such people, there's something wrong with their own lives. I mean, that they're projecting onto these
Yeah, but
animals.
I think this reflects that how it works, because no one ever told her the way she was talking and abusing and screaming at us, and at Olivier. They tried to call police on us at midnight, the head of the RWA association. So it reflects that, most of the people, no one has really courage to stand up to them. And who
Yes.
stand up, face the problem. You are like the problematic people, you are disturbing the peace of a peaceful society. But yeah, but nevertheless, I think none of this really hindered me. I wanted to travel with my dogs, I wanted to include them in that life, and I did only by using public transportation, because I
Yeah.
thought I could really make a difference, and you could always find a way in India. It's not like we could always. So of course, it's not as planned that, oh, you just land and you have a car waiting, and like, there were a lot of little issue, but that what made traveling with dogs very interesting, because it's never linear. You don't follow,
Mm.
because traveling is a very saturated market. Everyone now knows what to do wherever they are going.
Mm. Yeah.
Like, if you're coming to Bangkok, there are so many content telling you, you do this, or you must be going to these cafes or particular experience. But when you travel with your dogs, there is nothing. You have to chart your own route, make your own map, find your own place. And I think that what made the journey very beautiful, because we were always in for a surprise.
Mm. And what I liked about your book is that, yeah, it's a travel book as well as a doggy book, and also about your own life. It's also a memoir, it's many things. And so I found it a really good read. But how long did it take you to write? And what was the trigger that made you start writing it?
So I met Himali. She was a force behind making this book happen. I think she put the first seeds of it when I was leaving for Paris in 2022. We met in April in Delhi, and she told me I must write this book. It's a wonderful book, and this was the time I just did that one chapter for Book of Dog as well. She came to
Mm.
meet Pari, because Pari was the upper seat passenger who was never caught. And unbeatable record.
How you manage that is also something.
Yeah, yeah, she's so smart. Like, she is incredible that she was never, she understood the drill, that she knew if she had to travel, she had to be like this height for that first half an hour. And we managed to hide her for those last 55 journeys we did in India. And she was never unbeatable record, we used to say. And so, yeah, that's why they're so intelligent. They're so fun, the Indies. And I really hope that it shines through the book and people can just rescue more and adopt more. But coming back to the book with Himali, put the idea, I went back to Paris. I fell pregnant with my daughter, and I was so very sick. Like I was in the worst miserable state I was ever in. And I came back to India to recover, and then we moved to Bangkok. I just couldn't go back to France. And Olivier flew with dogs to Bangkok. So I guess I giving birth to Elora and surviving those first few months with a newborn baby, and then Tigress passing, and moment she passed away, it was a big trigger. I just like, I was a bit lost, and I think first of all, like, writing this was really hard after she passed away, because I had to kind of relive everything from the
Mm,
time we rescued in Nizamuddin to Bangkok. And but then I also wanted to write this because I know how incredible she is. And yeah, she is, I think, one of the, she just truly reflects what indies are capable of. So it was a struggle. Initial few months I struggled. I had young kids. I went to different cafes in Bangkok to hide for a few hours. Half the time I looked at people, half the time I said I cannot. And then I guess once I got in a flow and I said, no, I have to do this, then it did not take me long. I could do this in 4 or 5 months. And it
wow.
was a little challenge. And I think Olivia was nice that he gave me the mornings. He took over the kids. He took over
Mm,
Elora, that he knew that if I can have 4 hours every morning to be able to write this. And
yeah.
by end of it, I really enjoyed doing this because I could like really do that. We did so much together. We had like so many incredible moments, and they are not like extraordinary travel stories that we did not cross multiple countries and everything. They're very ordinary travel stories, but I feel sometimes very simple stories are very powerful.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you don't have to tick, boxes. Oh, you went here, there, did all, climbed one mountain, all that. No, but the fact that I liked how you brought in that old grandmother who really liked the dogs, and said that this is a which one is it?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, Chippy Parai and Pari,
Yeah,
right? Chippy Parai and a Desi dog, and all those things. Even that is such, it's a revelation, right? Because often you see these dogs and you don't know. Like, I don't know, I always wonder the DNA. There's somebody in Calcutta who's done a whole
yeah,
study.
you can actually do it now. Sometimes a water, especially with Pari, because she's so particular looking, because she's so tall. And people, like I remember once we were in, moment we landed in, like, came out of a train in Udaipur and we took a auto. The guy thought she's a goat. He was saying, okay, why you have a goat? And I just wonder how she looks like a goat, but she's just probably as tall as a goat.
And it's like your driver in Delhi saying, "Hey, Godi Jassi hai."
Yeah, yeah, he was really hilarious. I mean to say, I saw him right now when I was in Delhi, and he was like, "Abhi or dog liya kya? Ya utna hi hai." I said, "Oh, tigress passed away," so he was very sad. But yeah, but the thing is that if you have a will, you have a way. And navigating India and challenging the public transportation system and that coupe of first class, it's incredible. I love traveling on trains. Like even sometimes my husband complains that we are locked for 40 hours, you lose mind. But so much can happen in 40 hours.
Yeah,
It
that's
can
true.
practically be half a book. Like so much can happen. Like we are
Yeah.
fighting, we're jumping, we are watching things, and then we kind of knew all the stations we want to eat food from. And the pantry became extremely important of Rajdhani and Durantos because we knew what food we can eat. So all of that, I guess, this kind of traveling is getting slowly and slowly forgotten. Everyone does all those airport looks and flying, and I find no charm in flying because this is pretty much very clinical experience, but not
Yeah.
trains.
Yeah, that's true. And the fact, and like you point out, the fact that India has such a huge network of trains, and maybe we've forgotten, like as children and all, everybody used to take those trains because flights just weren't. They
Yeah,
were not affordable at that point, right? You
yeah.
couldn't just like,
Only one
pardon?
airlines. There was only like one airlines.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's no longer like that. So people have forgotten how to travel by train, a lot of people. So your book kind of brings back that romance of trains also.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought I'll go and present my book to the railway minister, but
You
then I said, oh,
should, you should.
but then I thought that all the bribes I've given, all the time I've hidden Pari, probably he's not happy, flouted every single rule. So I thought, oh, I don't know whether if he reads it and he says that, I that like because it's a very proud point that oh, Pari was never caught.
Yeah. Oh, maybe you better not because God knows what thing it will set off. Then everybody will be checking. Anybody who
Yeah,
follows
so let
your
people,
example.
let more animal, let more pet parents travel with a
Yeah.
dog. Yeah, it's a celebration of train travel. Definitely, I love it, and I think trains are incredible. In the first class, especially, it is very old way of traveling. You have a little those sleeping things. You have a little room for yourself, and it's crazy the amount. They had a particular knack that moment we started to travel, they used to shed 10 times more. I don't know why. Like moment you decided this is a day we are traveling, and they used to start shedding like this unimaginable quantity of shedding. So we used to like land wherever we used to come out in Goa full of hair and sweating, and then this girl never peed few times, and I think that was
Yeah.
yeah the Google search. Like I'm a Google mama. Everything.
Yeah. Yeah. But one of my dogs also does that. When it's raining, she goes for 3 days without peeing because she doesn't want to get her feet wet. So I completely empathize with you when you were, talking about your pari not peeing. It's quite scary. But
Yeah, yeah, I really thought that I've put her in those were first travels, so I wonder that she's not going to pee for another 5 days, 6 days. So what's going to happen? So what is the worst scenario? But now that I have dogs, and like Marco Polo is quite old, he's 14 now, and he had a tumor last year. Luckily, he's okay now, and then you have two young kids, so I spent a lot of time googling all the symptoms possible. Like the vets have banned me from sending pictures, and the pediatrician as well. But I was just telling
potty,
Olivia,
you said, not even general pictures, the pictures of potty.
I don't want to say it.
Your book is also quite funny in parts, in many parts.
So, and I don't want to say because now they told me that I can describe it. So I have a lot of description for my kids. So I sit and describe the color, the texture. So my husband has given up completely on me. He thinks that probably I should move in a hospital or something, because he doesn't have patience. So he doesn't even go anymore with me. But I have a lot of patience to go and sit in hospital with my dogs. And the fact that when Marco Polo wasn't walking for 2 days, I knew something was wrong. I inherently knew it because I'm so close to them that something is wrong. When I went to a vet and they were very superficial, oh, it's just old, it's just old. That's a very simple narrative when your dog is above 13, that he's old and like that's why he's not walking. But I knew there was something more. Then I said, oh, did you check that his balls? And they said, yeah, oh yeah, it's a tumor. I was absolutely livid because I knew something was wrong. And then I moved to another hospital in Bangkok and where he had his surgery. And now I spend probably 8 hours every 2 months to go and get his full body checkup that he is okay. Because I know that time frame is there. Like, we don't have unlimited time. I wish dogs lived as long as we lived. But but and I only wish that they don't overlive because I know no one else can take care of them the way I will ever do it.
Yeah, when you were talking about that old man walking with his dog in that village in
Yeah,
Goa, immediately I thought, what will happen to the dog when the old man dies? You
yeah,
know,
and yes, no one, in that, and people. The problem also in Goa is that though they love dogs, it's very easy to poison the dogs, which is they feel is a threat or a nuisance, which is very common also in Delhi and everywhere. So I can't just say it's a Goa thing, because they had a really nice dog in a government school in a Y block of
yes,
hospital.
yes, you mentioned
Yeah,
that dog.
and it was just poison. I don't even know why. Why they did it? What was the reason? He never did anything. He never said anything. He lived for over a decade inside of that school, and he was always hiding when the school was on. He never even came out. I don't know why. I don't even understand how people think anymore. How can you be so heartless, you know? But this is a problem not just with animals. We are just absolutely blind to everything which is around us, to our nature, environment, to trees, everything.
Each
Nothing.
other also, na? To humans also we are like that. I
Yeah, yeah. I guess we don't understand even what's going on with our neighbors. Like,
yeah.
because we are living in such individualistic unit now. And this is why I really enjoyed living in the smaller places because, you know, like living in that village in Goa was amazing because I knew what my neighbors were doing or what they were eating or what their dog had and everything else. And we were all so different, different age, different background. They've never traveled in their life, but they still had so much to share. And sometimes you can be very lonely in big cities.
Yes, that's true. Now that you're living in Bangkok, what's the difference between the way the Thai people react to animals and us? Is there a difference? Do they behave differently?
I love breed as well. They are very obsessed with those toy breeds and those small dogs, and so the breed obsession is very, very big in Thailand as well. But I don't know anymore in Bangkok if they all take their dogs in stroller. So I don't know if it's a child or a dog. I have to always check because all the dogs have a stroller here. So they all are in strollers. So all the dogs going out for a walk in stroller is something unimaginable. And my kids are asking now why our dogs don't have a stroller. I said, why? Why would I get a stroller
But
for?
how will they get exercise if they're in a stroller?
I think they are like those little those toy breeds. I don't even know what are they called. All those poodles or little ones and are different colors, and they groom them. And Dior has a special section. They all are very fancily dressed. They love to dress them. So I feel they're a bit like toys to them, like very well dressed. They all have fans on those strollers, and everything. So these are the new things which we discovered while coming here. For them, Pari is a giant. It's like she's a wolf or something, like she's not a dog. And they all are scared. Like I remember when she goes on a condo downstairs to walk, like everyone, the guards and everyone just moves that Opari is coming. And the other day she's highly unpredictable.
Island are there? They also have like desi
Soy
kutta type,
dog. Yeah,
na?
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're called soy dogs, so they exactly same. They look exactly same like Indian pariah dogs. Also, like you
Yeah.
can't differentiate when you go to wards or smaller places. You see a lot of them. But we live in a neighborhood. We don't see any dogs. No, there's no stray dogs around here. So Olivia thinks it's better for him because otherwise, Pari is fighting with every single creature you find on the way. So now she has those little dogs to fight with. So I'm always very scared. She's so big, and those are like tiny
Yeah.
little dogs, but they're
But
very loud.
they're very
Funny,
loud.
they're very, very loud. But she loves, I think what they love about living in Bangkok is the street food. This
Oh,
is
okay.
where the real love starts. She has made friends with some of the food vendors. So every morning she's blackmailing me to take her to walk after 9 because they arrive after 9. So she can get some treats. So she will go, she'll put her face on the feet and roll around so she can get few treats.
Smart.
They're I tell you, they are extremely smart. Like you don't need to tell them anything. They can go anywhere. And Marco Polo, because now he's old, he loves to just take tuk-tuk. He loves going on tuk-tuks around Bangkok. And there is a hotel next to my house. It's called Kimpton Malay. Like, I don't think so. I can afford many things. It's like a 5-star, but he loves to go there to sit in AC, drink ice cold water. The water has to have ice cubes and an ice cream and a dog ice cream made with parmesan, aged cheddar, rosemary, and some other stuff. That's what his favorite thing to do is that.
The high class dude.
Yeah, I feel now they know they are stars after the book. I was just, other day I went and showed all the vendors, food vendors, to just increase the value of Pari. Look, she is on a book. She said, "You wrote it." I said, "Yeah, I wrote it." So she got 2 extra chicken feet or something. She was absolutely like at least something good out of my book. They're getting some extra food.
Celebrities.
Yeah, I think they deserve to be. They deserve to be. Rapari had such a rough start. I'm just so happy that we made that decision to rescue her. It's worth
Hmm.
every single hard work. It wasn't that simple. There were a lot of tears. There were a lot of fights between me and Olivia as well, because
Hmm.
rescuing comes with a lot of challenge. So I don't want to sugarcoat it, and people think, oh, it's incredible. Yes, on a picture, the journey is incredible, but of course, it takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of courage and the personal sacrifice as well, and it costs money.
Yeah, yeah, and you were like, I wondered, and then I got to that part where you said that you have to toilet train them now, because when you have a puppy, you work on toilet training that puppy. But if you rescue a dog from the street and it's an older dog, it's very
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, like you have to have that mindset that you're willing to clean up after them. You're not going to scream at them. You are willing that they're going to make a mess, they're going to break few things, it's going to spoil something. So we don't have anything nice in our house that our kids and dogs can really not destroy. At this stage, this is a thing, let them enjoy. They want to sleep on a bed, they will sleep on a bed. They want air conditioning, they will get air conditioning. They want a pillow, they'll have a pillow. So I just want to, when I rescued them, I never knew that I would reach this far. As a 24-year-old, I struggled a lot. I never knew I made it this far, and I would have this kind of resources. And I'll find someone as a partner also who's equally invested, probably more
Yes.
invested at this point of time than me, because our kids take over a bit more time of mine right now, Marius and Elora. So Olivia still walks furry for 2 hours a day, like every day
Oh,
without fail.
okay.
So
Hmm.
we give them, so I guess it's a lot of work, but if you're willing to put in that much of work, which is with any relationship, then you have this most incredible companionship.
Hmm.
And no one will ever wait for you that your dog waits for you at home. Like, I always say that no one will relish a simple meal as a dog will. And like, even if I take her for a walk in the same place every day, she's still so happy. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
a lot of life lessons from learn from dogs. But my kids also, they are very, very good siblings. They will go and hide from us and give them extra treats, scream at us saying that we were not nice to the dogs because we did not
Yeah.
walk them enough. So I have two more people at house now who love dogs as much. But my son is very sensitive.
Yeah, so when you deal with that, when your dog passed away, and your son said some things, how did you manage to like comfort him? Because that's also a very scary thing, now, when you have small children and dog passes
Yeah,
away.
I think the idea of death doesn't exist in my kids' thing. Like that is eternal, doesn't. Like everything they watch, even if it gets crushed or broken, it can be fixed. Like then you told me, oh, minion fell from thing, it never got hurt, or like they never age. But I just had to say that she's around, but not in a way that where we can see her.
Mm.
And it wasn't easy, it was not easy. I just Then she kept saying, no, she's going to be fixed, she's going to be back in a week's time, or she's going to be back in few days. And now we understand that she's gone, she's not going to come back, but they do miss her, and they say that, are we going to have another dog if she looks like Tigress? So I said, it doesn't matter, Tigress was Tigress, we can have any dog, and that's going to be another addition to our family. But yeah, Marius is 5 is easy. I don't think so. Elora remembers very much, but she's even more fond of dogs. She's very, very in love with Pari. She's hand feeding them at this point of time. I don't know about baby led weaning. That did not work very successfully. So she has started with the dogs now.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's wonderful, wonderful to be able to do this. I miss Tigress very much, but this book is a kind of a tribute to her, that we lived it. And words are, I feel that she's going to be forever with this book now. Everyone can get to know how incredible she was. And the night
Hmm.
she passed away, I think she came to say, like, I think this was one of the strongest moments, and which kind of made me want to document and write this book. Is I think it was, I woke up at 3 o'clock to feed my daughter Elora, because she was still 10 months old. And that, when in the time when you're in between sleep, you just woken up and you're about to fall, like, you're going back to sleep. I saw her at my bedroom door, and that was the morning she passed away. That same night she was standing, and she used to do this very often. She used to sleep in the kitchen, and she used to come and just stand by the door and watch us, and then go back. And she was standing, and I was like, and I said in the sleep, oh, you're back, Tigress. And then she just ran to the balcony. We had a huge terrace for her, and she was running, and she was an incredible runner when she was young. She could climb trees and she could like run. No way you could catch her. And she was running the same way. And I started to run after her, and she jumped off the balcony and she just looked one time back and she disappeared. So I felt that her soul just came back to say that she's free.
Mm.
So you're free. So this is yeah, it was very moving, and I felt that she was at peace, and I felt that she's happy and she is how she was when she was younger. And I think that made me bit feel better, because the pain was incredible, because when you live with someone for 16 years, you are like, but I think that just made me feel a bit better that she's not suffering, or she's not in that dark place, or and that was something unbearable for me.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I don't want you to get emotional because,
No, no, no. I'm not, because now, like I said, that there was a point I just couldn't talk about her. Now that I wrote a whole book about her, and
yeah,
a very happy book, and I did not
yeah.
want it to make it a sad book. Like I guess that was one of my ideas, because I wanted to show how funny they are. They're goofy, they're funny. They all have their own personalities, and everyone comes with their own. I don't know. They all shine in different ways.
And how much they teach you also, na? As
Yeah.
how much dogs teach humans, that is also a big thing which we.
I think I'm better person because of my dogs. Yeah,
Mm.
really, and a better parent as well. Before my kids came, I had a lot of patience, a lot of this kind of idea that I can sacrifice my own time and my own comfort for something, and that made parenting a lot easier. Otherwise, just to be thrown into taking care of a kid like that is really one of the hardest things I've done. So now everyone asks me, "Oh, it must be so hard to have three dogs." I said, "Oh, you don't have human children. That's the hardest part."
It's far harder, you're right.
And I'm more ungrateful.
Yeah.
My son can say, then he says, "Oh, I love you," but and there many times he told me, "Oh, you're not a good person, or you're not a good thing," and they have no filters, and I'm like, okay, and I was just like,
Anyway, and I also enjoyed, how your book also gives the reader an insight into Shekhawati and the history of the Marwadis and all. That's also a very fascinating part. When I went to Shekhawati and I saw all those havelis and those beautiful paintings and all, and they're all empty.
yeah,
And your book reminded me of that also, and of the incredible history also, and how people, we don't think of that history, but it's all a part of us, and for you in your community, it's a part of your history. Each of the communities in India has a history, and we don't think of these things, we just think of ourselves as contemporary people, but also that. So
I
your
think they all are rooted. Like sometimes, like when you grow up, you kind of wonder where your roots are more and more. I feel like I did not care about these things when I was 20 or 30s. Now I start to wonder, because I raised a kid in a very, my husband is French and I'm Indian, and we start to wonder like what is where and where I come from, and all those things happens. And I guess bringing my dogs was really like nice and challenging. None of my family have read the book right now, so I really how they're gonna react. So I'm just waiting. I don't even know who's bought it. So I think this will be something, for them
yeah,
to, and especially I try to limit. I did not write too much about my father as well, and our a very conflicted relationship, but that comes from the culture itself, because it's a very
yes.
patriarchal society. The woman, none of the women in my family, even I think I was the first one to go to college. They never even went to college. I got married at 30, which was ancient. They thought like up to there's no chance of me ever getting married. And I remember when I said that I want to marry a French guy, my father was livid. He absolutely said that, and my mother's first question was, which caste does he belong? And I had to explain to him there is no caste in France. And you're not believe. So I said that he did PhD. I said he's very high caste. I said, when married.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, she's completely asked me. So, oh, which caste does he belong? So I said, doesn't really matter what qualification, whether he has money or has a job, is secure, or where his family. No, but like first, with like, kis caste se hai, ye to batao. So I have to really, really explain to my mom. And so I just said that, oh, he's done PhD, his dad is a doctor, they're very high caste. And I just had to. Otherwise, like my dad, she would have been as angry. I think my grandparents were more open and more liberal, I felt, because they're much
Ah,
easier with grandchildren than your own
ah,
parents. So they were
ah.
easy. They decided to send me. They paid for my journalism school, and they were like, I had a chance of negotiation, which I never had. I could never have with my dad. So yeah, so this book is multi-layer. It's a bit about me. What is it challenging when you come from this kind of community, and
Hmm.
no one knows, like, they will just tell me, like, they will ask me. I remember when we had a small wedding party in Calcutta, because I got married in Pondicherry. We did not invite many relatives, and there was an uncle who went and told my husband hello. Instead of saying his name, hello, I am this, or I'm related, he said, oh, I earn 10 crore a month. And my husband was like, what is he saying? One person, how many zeros? And he said, why did he say that to me? Why, as his introduction? Because I said that's a highlight of his life, that he earns this much money. And that's what Marwaris are. So you're, in a way, you're successful, but you're still not successful. You've written a book, but he asked me how much money you made. I don't know, I made much money. So yeah, it's really funny that your mother thinks now that, okay, you've done something, because before they kept wondering, what are you doing, this journalism kya hai, kuch doctor engineer banti, or and then she keeps telling me, iska to itna package hai, this one has that one package of. I'm just tired of still listening to about package of all my cousins, and I said I'm very happy for them, and but I keep telling my mother that, whatever limited resources I have, they could never have that kind of life and liberty and freedom which I could have with my work, and a chance to travel, a chance to rescue these animals and raise a family wherever I want. And I think for me, this is one of the biggest luxury and the bonus of my work. But it's just very hard to explain any Marwari that's how you measure success.
Hmm. But your grandparents are fair, very nice from the book, I can
But
see.
they are very, very nice. I think they rescued me. I went to live with them when I was 12 years old. My parents had very, very difficult, still have very difficult marriage, because in my community, you don't divorce. If you stay miserable till the end. The
Hmm.
idea of divorce is so alien. So they're still together. And so I think they gave me a idea of stability which I never had. So they gave me that idea of love. My grandparents now are like what, 80, 81. They got married when they were, I think, 15 years old. So they have
Hmm.
spent all their life together, and I had some idea of love and what could means to be a normal family with them. And of course they paid for my education, and they love Olivier very much. He thinks he's a better behaved of the
Of the two of you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And poor Olivia also, he thought he's marrying in a Marwari family, he'll get some Rolex or something, but he got three Indies.
And that's much more precious, okay?
Yeah, I'm just so glad to find someone who loves dogs as much as possible. But he's a bit more practical, because if he wasn't there, I would be doing I have a lot of crazy travel ideas. So whatever I did was a lot of bargaining in between, because I wanted to do like multiple train. I wanted to take a Trans-Siberian Railways. I wanted to do many, many things. So I and but forgetting there's so much paperwork, because they're flying dogs to Paris. Oh my God, amount of paperwork, flying three dogs. It took us crazy amount of work to be able to
Hmm.
do that. But I would never leave my dog. That's the integrity. I would never. I did not leave them at 24 when I was struggling. I have no house. I had to live in an office, and I mean to say I was almost broke. That at now I'm at 41, and I would just never, like, this is for me. They are my kids. They are my family. And yeah, I think both of us still, like, even if we go out, we're always like, oh, 6 o'clock, we have to go back. It's time to walk the dogs.
Yeah.
Our day works like that. It's time to walk the dogs. And even at midnight, like Bangkok is really safe. It's one of the safest place. I feel very safe here, unlike in Delhi.
Yes, yes. Bangkok is very safe.
Yeah, I can
Thailand
go
is
at
very safe. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like I can go at midnight, also go get something from 7-Eleven. So sometimes Pari is like very agitated, and I go to walk her at midnight, and I feel wow, I can just walk her at midnight, and there's so many people still on this street, and Pari also, I think she likes it because, but the only thing is that she would like some more drama in her life because other day she just, I don't know what happened. A driver was coming in the lift and she was going out, and driver did not see, and she jumped on that driver. And that guy came back and said that she tore my Burberry shirt. I said, what? And had to pay 4,000 baht. And I was
Oh
telling,
gosh. Oh my
I was,
goodness.
and I'm sure he was wearing a fake Burberry shirt from MBK, but I had to pay for a real one. So now I'm so careful that she doesn't go and touch anyone's anything because they just come and ask me for money like crazy here. So yeah, I keep telling her we have to be very careful with her because Pari has a class issue.
Ah, yes. Yeah, even that's true. A lot of dogs have it. Huh? They
Yeah,
they kind
they
of,
have
yeah.
she has a thing with against construction workers, painters, arts. So I like always say she has a bit of a class issue, and probably this comes from living on the street. These were the people
Yes.
who treated her or hurt her so much, and that trauma never leaves. It's just hidden somewhere, and it can come out anytime. And
Yeah.
this is where somewhere we have to be very careful because she can be very, very, and she's a strong dog. She's 30 kg.
Ah, katta katta.
Yeah, but she doesn't eat. I think just doesn't eat that much. But her own food she doesn't eat. She will eat everything else, which she's not supposed
That's
to
the
eat.
chippy parai side that makes her like a big hound, na?
Yeah, yeah, they are strong, like those running, hunting dogs kind
Yeah.
of thing. Marco Polo is more like, you know, I will just hand feed me, keep me in AC now, and just let me be on a bed. And he only goes to restaurant where he thinks they'll have food for him. Otherwise, he said, I don't want to go. Yeah, but I really hope this book in the end will be like will change with the way people look at indies. And this is what the aim was when I started to write, that I want to write a very positive, very funny book about them. Um, Otherwise, dog movies, even I'm scared to watch any horror movie because I knew that the dog is the first one to come in the picture. So I have to make my
Yeah.
husband watch all the movies first to see the part. And then if it's okay, then I go and watch a movie.
Yeah. The dog should never die in movies. Like
Yeah, like
that's just
recently I went
not.
to see the new Conjuring and I was in a theater
Oh,
and the dog,
I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see it. I have not seen it.
so the dog is okay. So then that was my
Oh,
main
good.
criteria. I had to Google before going in the movie. The dog will be okay. So that's what my husband said. There are three children involved. Their life is at stake. I said, yeah, but the dogs should be okay. Then I'll come to the kids.
And on that great note, we'll end. Everybody go out and get Chaos in a Coupe, traveling across India with three dogs by Divya Dugar. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a great read. Just love it. And you know,
Thank you so much.
it's kind of inspiring. I don't know whether I'll be able to get on a train with
Oh
my
my
dog.
God, you do one train journey.
I don't know if I'm brave enough, but let me see.
I think you should go to Goa. They will love it. I thought it's like a safest place. If someone has to travel, like if someone has never traveled with dogs and they want to do that first travel, if supposedly from Delhi, take that Madgaon Rajdhani or Trivandrum Rajdhani. They both are fantastic trains. The staff is really great because they're so used to seeing dogs in first class. And the dogs
Ah,
will have the pantry. So they will already know all the amazing extras they can get in the train. And Goa has such great many pet friendly hotels and space, and
mhm.
so it just makes traveling a little bit more easier. People are not shocked to see you with a dog.
Oh, yeah. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah, like in Rajasthan, the Udaipur and all were very hard. They were like, what is this people, what are they doing, so it was more challenging to go to this kind of place, but Goa is more easy, more like people.
Susegad, Susegad, like you mentioned.
Yeah. Oh my God, that house in Lutalem, I mean to say, like, I was wondering, I fell in love with that house. So I had to write literally few chapters on it. But thank you very much for reading my book and sharing about it. And I hope I come and see your dogs in Delhi.
Yeah. Next time you're in the country, we should catch up.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Where are they? They're
They're
hiding
sleeping. They're sleeping on both sides of me. They're very well behaved today. I have to say.
somewhere. But they are in generally. But thank you so much for
Thanks.
talking.
Great talking to you.
Yeah.
See you.
Bye.